Okay, I think we are live. Oh, of course my dog started barking right now. Oh, this is going to be funny. Hello, I hope you can hear me. I think my husband's coming home right now. But let's delete this. Hold on, I'm going to end and come back. My husband is just, actually, no, I don't need to, no, we're just going to make, this is real life, people. Hello, my name's Amy Brooks, and this is my dear friend from Russia. We are literally coming to you live from 2 parts of the world with dogs barking in the background because I forgot my husband's coming home. We are coming live to really bring you some goodness, and my husband went grocery shopping and he didn't tell me he was coming home right now, so this is fun. So my friend Natasha is literally on the other side of the world in Russia and has an amazing story to share, and I cannot wait to allow you to hear her story and use this time to bring to you modern movement makers as well. So I started in 2020 a movement called Modern Movement Makers, and it is a community of people who are wanting to create waves of inspired action, of love, of hope, of peace, and of movement in the world around them. And this obviously came out of a time for me where, I wanted to pour out in the middle of a quarantine. I knew I had something to give. I knew I had something to share. I knew others had things to share. And so out of that was born Modern Movement Makers. And you can go see modernmovementmakers.com. It's actually modernmovementmaker.com or modernmovementmakers.com. We are on Facebook, we are on YouTube, and we are on Instagram. So we are a community of people who just want to create bigger and bigger waves of inspired action. And today, we are going to do that by a series of questions. And Nats, I'm so sorry for the dog barking. And apparently it was not my husband. It was just a person walking by our house. So tell us a little bit about how we know each other and a little bit about you.
Right. Yes, we have a long history. I think actually it was back in 2007. I was in California and you and Matt were there too. And I came for filming of the series of teaching for the leadership school that we had back then. And actually there were several people I met in your church, but I kind of, you were one of the few that I really remember and still, stay connected. So through all these years, it's amazing.
Yes, it's been really fun staying connected to you. And even though we're on two totally different parts of the world. And I love that we've stayed connected, and I cannot wait to have your story come to and you'd be a part of Modern Movement Makers with all of us, and continue to see your story unfold. So I like to ask, what purposeful movements have you made, past or present, in your life that you would like to share?
Yeah, I actually love the word movement. I love to be on the movement, in the movement, just be moving.
Yes.
That's actually, when people look at me and my husband, they say that we are for some reason, they say that, what nationality do you associate with? And they say, oh, Americans, because you always move.
That's really funny. I love that.
So,
and some people think, oh, if I'm a part of Modern Movement Makers, do I have to move my body? And actually, it's funny because it's really, I know you're talking about physically just always being busy and things like that. But it's so interesting because we can think of that in so many different ways, right? We can think of the movement of our souls, and the movement of our hearts, and the movement of a bunch of different things. So I love that you're kind of tying it into the actual physical movement too.
No, I think it's connected. Like when you move, like you were talking just right now before we went live, that when you move, there's so many things connected to it that happens within you, with people around you, and just with so many things. So, like, yes, we did, like the actual physical movement that we've made. Almost a year ago, we moved to Moscow.
Right.
Yes, and it was, as much as we can say, it was purposeful movement for us, because God has been speaking to us about this for 5 years. This is how much time we need to be convinced, or for God to prepare everything. So, anyways, but it was, just when He actually told us the timing to come here.
Wow, that's amazing.
Almost to the date. Almost to the date.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
Great.
and it was just like totally, we were just sure of that we were obedient, I guess.
Yeah, and it's so interesting. We have a very similar. That's
Yeah,
Matt and
yeah,
I knew we just were being called out of California, and then we just knew it was like time to come home, and so
right.
we said, God, and I'm sure you guys did too. You got to make it happen because we don't know how
Yeah,
it's going to happen, but we know you have a plan. So
exactly,
I'm glad
exactly.
that you made your journey.
Yeah, we were in firm, and for most of my life I was there, and throughout the last 20 years or so, I just received so many words, and just God spoke that perm, the city perm, not this perm. but it was God was just speaking, saying that perm is not your permanent place.
That's interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, but it was, of course, even the last minute, it was kind of there was a chance, we had a chance to kind of stay there permanently.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I think the danger of in this life, at least, to get comfortable to the point that you don't want to make any movement
Right.
in
Right.
any of the areas of life. Just get comfortable, with your emotions, your life, your, I don't know, relationships. And, I guess for every person, it looks different.
Yeah.
But like just for yourself, whatever you define comfortable, you can get comfortable with that and just stay in that place. But I think when you do the movement, whatever it is, your soul, your emotions, the physical movement, it's always a chance to grow.
Absolutely. Oh, I love that. I love that you listened to that intuition and that voice, and that you took that inspired action to move your family. And, I am so thankful for the time that we spent in Michigan, and I can see why, so many reasons why we were supposed to be there, but then coming back, I can see the same thing. So I'm sure you're seeing some similarities as well. I'm going to let my dog out because now my husband's home for real. And he kind of loves seeing him at the door. So just real quick, and then I'll ask you the next question. Chip, go outside. Go. All right. Thank you. Now they're out of here. Okay. All right. So why is that particular movement of you actually moving cities important to you now? What are you doing in Moscow now?
Yeah, as with everything, I guess you always have your own plan. So we did have a, specific calling that we knew that we're coming here for, but the way it's gonna look like, we thought it's gonna be different. Mm-hmm. And so now, as we are probably coming to the closer version of what it is, so the main purpose for us was to be on the church planting team. Awesome. And so, yeah. So, but it looks totally different, but it looks totally beautiful, just with what is happening right now. Yeah. So we actually joined the new church movement here, and it's different from what we expected, and that's why you need to have a lot of movement inside of you to kind of restructure everything that's been kind of imagined inside of you, how you thought it's going to be, and just, as you said, align yourself with what God is doing.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And the more,
actually not easy. It's not easy.
No, it's almost like stilling our souls enough, like being still enough to then make the movement, right?
Yeah.
Because if we're not clear, then we can't make the movement because we're not aligned or centered enough to make that movement, right? So that's amazing. And so I'm sure this next question kind of, as you're kind of listening and figuring out what's next for you guys in this movement, do you have fears that are holding you back about this or in life? What are they, and how do you overcome them? And what are some of those fears?
Of course, with being in Moscow, it's one of the most expensive cities in the world. But throughout the last, at least, whatever, we've been married for 10 years. Every trip we took somewhere during the last 10 years, it was always to an expensive place for us. So we were just thinking, like, God, can you take us to like a cheaper place? And we think about ourselves of what we can do. This is cheaper, this is affordable, this is comfortable. You don't have to come out of your comfort zone.
Yeah.
And so it's very
I can relate. I don't know.
live in.
I can relate. I mean, being here in California, like I said, we were talking earlier, we just said, God, like, you're going to have to do this because, and I know without a shadow of a doubt that it is totally by the movement of God that we are where we are, that God provided the space, and so I know that God's going to continue to provide along the way because he is abundant and he
Exactly.
has so much goodness for us. And it's not going to always look the way that we think it's going to look. So,
Right.
yeah. So the fear, we were talking earlier, did you say you have a fear, you mentioned around God, missing God's voice, right? Or something like that?
His will, yeah. Like just looking back at some things in my life that I've experienced and noticed, and just seeing the major like catastrophe in people's life, like when marriages die or churches die or movements die.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's sad, but on one hand, it's always the will of God. It's the will of a person, as I said, that we're not robots. We're not like, okay, God, I will do that. And there are like tons of examples, how Jesus is overcoming those struggles, and he's, being obedient even up to the death.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think that we've struggled that much. But of course, in our minds, it's like, it's huge, it's big. I'm overcoming the struggle in my head, and it seems so big to us. That sometimes I don't think that we even compare enough with what Jesus went through.
Yeah, well, absolutely. Or there's some places in the world where people are having to overcome every single day to, and we don't even know a fraction of that, right?
Exactly.
And so, yeah, I've found some tools that help me overcome those fears. I know there's probably lots of different tools out there, but definitely, I'm so grateful for the tools that I have learned to help break through those fears and hear the truth that God has for our lives. And I've had to do that, and it just takes us continually doing that, right? Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So who inspires you, my friend?
There are, I guess, different people in my life here and there. There's different friends who make the movement and they stay faithful the course, the course. That just different people, There's some I've met more than 20 years ago, and I see how they overcome different struggles, big and little, different sizes, and they are still so faithful, and they inspire me. They might not even think of themselves that they are a giant of faith, but to me they are. So there are just several names I probably want to even name here, but there's several people like that, and just new people you meet in life. You hear the stories. I think the one thing that it's when you have enough time and intention to listen to somebody's story, and I think almost every person has some kind of story that will inspire you in this or other way.
Well, I know definitely. Yeah, you you are being modest, but I know you love to inspire people as well. And I know people are being inspired by your journey. So I would just encourage you to continue. I just appreciate you coming on and sharing a little bit of your story, because it will inspire others. And so I just love that about you, that you said, let's do this. I want to be a part of this, and I want to make a wave of inspired action. And so how, at least the next question, how are you making waves or ripples of inspired action in the world? As you know, I live near the ocean now again, in California.
Beautiful.
This is actually the first modern movement makers in California. The rest of them were in Michigan. So yay! Thank you for doing this with me. It's so exciting. And so I was thinking, God kept bringing to mind just what the ocean has taught me. And so I don't know in Russia what your landscape. I mean, I know what Russia is, just such a beautiful country, I'm sure. I've never been. I'd love to go visit you sometime. But, I don't know what inspires you or how you view that. But when I thought about modern movement makers, I thought about the waves and how the ripples and how we can be a ripple effect in the world. So.
Right. I think it's little things that sometimes you don't notice, or you don't want to even do this. So like with me, it's I always use the example, my children and I bilingual. So I constantly make myself speak English with them. And sometimes it's not easy, but it's the little things that you do every single day. You have to do them. Sometimes you don't see the results. It's like, oh my God. But then I was like, it clicks something, and they started speaking English. My daughter, she can, she translates better than when I was, when I started translating at 20 something. I studied to be a translator, but, she translates better than when she's 7. Better than when I was 20 something. And then I was like, okay, I see that, I'm investing each and every day. And I think for the world and just for everything we do right now, it's the same. And how our business coach says that you have to live out loud your life.
Yes.
And it's every day, like even like with Instagram, we post pictures, like what we eat, where we go, what we do, how we just everything, just little things. And sometimes you doubt. I was like, who needs that? Like my husband the other day, he was saying, oh, there are tons of people. They live the same life. They do the same things. And I was like, wait, there's some values. They're different from the world around us that we can share,
Yep.
And it's every day, the waves, the little waves that, will make the big wave eventually, that will come and it will be seen. So.
Absolutely. Oh my goodness. I loved hearing you say that. My friend Monique, I don't know, Monique, if you're still here, but she made some comments. She said, hi, she's here in California in wine country. She said, it's fun to see us live. And she said, Jesus is the perfect example to look to when we experience fears. She said that's a comparison. And she said she's going to come back and watch the rest because she had to go. So, but yeah, I love that you are doing that in your family, right? Like it starts with a home. It starts with the community around us. And I love that you're starting at home. You're starting with your child, your children. And, we're their first educators, right?
Yep.
We can teach through example. We can teach through our words. We can teach through, different tools and things that we can teach. So I love that. And I would love to hear you speak Russian. I don't know what you're going to tell me in Russian, but I would love, I actually, I sing. Did you know when I moved to Los Angeles, I started singing for a Russian community?
I think you mentioned something like that.
Yeah. And I actually know, "Do svidaniya."
Oh, that's very good. Привет. Привет.
I also know, what is, praise the Lord or praise God.
Slava Bogu.
Slava Bogu.
Slava Bogu.
I know it's
Yeah.
I know that. And then I also sing in Russian a little bit. So that's been really great. And I learned that very phonetically. But the more I sang, the more people understood. And they were like, wow, you can speak really good Russian or sing really good Russian. And I just had to sit down and, like you said, just learn and learn and learn and learn every little syllable until I figured it out and could sing it. So that's great that you're starting at home.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
And so what piece of advice, if you could leave anybody with, oh yeah, by the way, you have one child, right?
Two.
You have two. Do you have a girl and a boy?
A boy, a girl, and a boy.
Okay. Awesome. How old are they?
7 and 4.
Oh, such great ages. I love that.
I know. It's still so sweet.
Oh man. So what piece of advice would you like to leave people with? Thank you for everybody who are taking the time to view this or replay. Please let us know if you watch the replay. Just type replay in the comments. If you are watching live, hello from California and Russia.
Moscow.
Moscow, yeah. So what would you like to leave? I know we're just having a little conversation about movement of God, movement of our hearts,
Right.
of our families. But would you have any advice to leave anybody with?
Oh, I have students. I teach English them, and there was just a recent song that we were translating into Russia from Zootopia by Shakira.
Oh,
and I think it's a very good, encouraging song for everyone to listen to, and especially the lines where it says, "Don't give up, don't give in." And I think that's just something I would say to myself, and I would say to anyone else, don't give up on your hopes, on your dreams, that God has placed in your life, and that, yes, you can be the voice, because sometimes you just, in the back of your mind, you just, who am I? Who am I? Nobody will listen to me. But this is not, as you said, you gotta just know where the lie and where the truth. Yep. And you have to just, pursue your dream, and you just have to walk faithfully your journey just every day, because it's little things that matter. Yeah. And it's funny that you say that. I just picked this up and I thought I could show it here. If it says you are who God says you are. And Amen.
all these words: accepted, precious, forgiven, redeemed, loved, unique, special, so many, protected, not alone, important, strong. So just knowing that the truth of who God says you are that's the voice we need to listen to and get deep in our hearts. Exactly. So that we can make these movements. So that is amazing. So you've been in Moscow for how long? A year. A whole year. Wow. Oh my word. It has been so fun to get to talk to you again and for you to share your story. Thank you so much for being a part of this movement. You can, again, if you're watching, thank you for watching and being a part of this with us. And we look forward to seeing what movements are going to be made out of this incredible journey that we are all on. And feel free to contact me, modernmovementmakers.com, if you would like to share your story and meet all of my wonderful friends around the world. I love it. Oh, I love it. Okay, I'm gonna go off now, but bye everyone. Bye everyone. Bye.